Alright, have a good folks. Your boy Marcos 1205 numbers after the name. Little Modern Warfare Remastered action. Tight Tuesday gameplay come down to the limit to the wall, the wire, man. I really forget the name of the stage, man. I want to call it Strike, but I don't think it's the name. Call it Strike, man. I don't know what the other name of this stage is, man, but I'm a big fan of this stage, man. Partial Ambush, I think it may be called. Maybe it's called Ambush. Let's go with Ambush. I don't know if it's Ambush, but let's call it Ambush, even if it isn't. It's pretty crazy, you know, when you go and think about it. I've played countless of hours this day. I mean, I think I've sunk in at least 2 or 3 days of Modern Warfare Remastered already, which, although it sounds a lot now, when I go back and I think about like the 20+ having like Black Ops 2, I'm like, whoa, it's like, yeah. But then again, those games have a long advantage. And also, take into account, I've prestiged, I think, like maybe once or twice in the original Modern Warfare. You know, even having Xbox 360 at the time, I got it later. So it goes to show you just how deep Call of Duty goes, bro. I kind of, my first, you know, I didn't want to play it. I was kind of just going to talk about like the footage over here and the gameplay. But let's take a current back over here through my history of Call of Duty. The first Call of Duty I ever played was Modern Warfare, the original. I missed out on 1, 2, and 3. I was a Medal of Honor guy. I actually had Medal of Honor. I think Frontline may have been the first one. Maybe it was called Medal of Honor. But I had Medal of Honor that I think somebody let me borrow or something, and I beat it, and that was kind of it. The first one I bought, though, Medal of Honor Pacific Rising. I actually have it over here, man. I have it tucked inside. Never mind. I have it like in a little box or whatnot under the bed, where I have like all my GameCube games and whatnot. Because I bought it for the GameCube. I think it was like Medals, whatever. It takes place in the Pacific. I know that for 100% sure. I might bust that game out, yo, on the real, man. Maybe somebody comes on and we'll give them the sticks and be like, yo, let's play this real quick. Let's see how bad this thing was, man. But I was always a Medal of Honor guy with Call of Duty at the beginning. Like, I thoroughly enjoyed the Medal of Honor games. They were good at the time. Like, we didn't know any better. There wasn't anything else. It was dope. Pacific Rising, whatever the hell that thing was called. And then I kind of laid off shooters, period. I didn't really like the next shooter I would play was probably like Resident Evil 4. And, you know, that's kind of not even really a shooter. And then I got to college, and it was freshman year. Junior had his Xbox, and I remember seeing Modern Warfare Remastered, or Modern Warfare Remastered. Yeah, that would be something. I remember seeing Modern Warfare, and you know he was awesome. It was like the shit. We had like figure out how to like course and get like there was kind of like this loophole that we had to do to get the internet to work in like the dorms on like the 360. Like I forget exactly what the deal was with it, but it wasn't just you plug in the Ethernet cord and it actually works. Like there was like a couple like firewalls we had to get through. There's some sort of things that prevented us from doing that. Like the university didn't want you to use their internet to play the damn game. Like that was not something that they wanted to do. And this was pre-wireless days and everything on like the Xbox and whatnot. So you had to hardwire everything. So I forget what it was. I don't know if it was like you kind of hook up your computer quick enough to it and then you hook it up to it. I don't know what it was. But it was some sort of trick that we had to do over there. And then you go online and play it. And I remember I didn't play online at all. I was just interested in playing the campaign. I was like, oh, I don't really know. This is like kind of there had been already like online shooting. Like I remember in high school, like a lot of people had like PS2s. I didn't have a PS2. I had a GameCube. I literally, the Xbox was the first time I broke through the Nintendo hegemony in my life. Not necessarily because because Nintendo fanboy or anything, just because I just kind of grew up like that. You know, my parents bought me like those early Nintendo games. Like my parents bought me my NES, SNES, and N64. And even GameCube, I remember that. And then after that, it's kind of when I took over and I started purchasing systems and whatnot. I actually started to get a little cash flow and whatnot. But there was kind of a dry period there between the GameCube and the Xbox 360 where like I just didn't have anything, like, you know. But I remember like a lot of my friends were like into SOCOM. That was kind of one of the first like online shooters that people were like really into. And I think people remember how big SOCOM was, man. Like SOCOM was huge for like an extended period of time, and it was huge for like the PS2. You know, let me give you this. Most people I knew bought the PS2 for 3 reasons. They bought it first to be a DVD player. That was automatic, you know, because like, why wouldn't you want this thing as your DVD player when you can also play video games on it? And that, to this day, I still think is like the biggest plus that you could give Sony on that regard. Like they saw through that, whereas something that like Nintendo didn't when they even put out the GameCube. So they were already like late to the party with the whole disc thing, right? That's how PlayStation even existed. You know, that they Nintendo infamously was like, nah, we don't really need that. We go with the cartridges, brah. And I don't blame them to a certain extent, because the cartridge business was a way that they made money. Like they made money off the fact that they would force you to put this stuff on cartridges, and therefore you had to pay them like a certain cut to like get it on there, or whatever. And it died out by the N64 era, where people were like, all right, well, we don't really need to make games for the N64. We just make it for the PlayStation, where we could literally put it on a CD, and that's it. So they kind of shot themselves in the foot in that regard, and then it kind of took them a little while to even recover. And even then, they made their own like mini CDs, which was kind of like a half step for Nintendo, which was like, all right, well, we'll give you the CD format because yeah, it's like a lot smaller and whatnot. But you know, we still want you to put it on this little guy over here that I imagine they probably charged something to put it on. But anyway, I digress. But anyway, I knew people that bought it for a DVD player, and that's kind of where like you couldn't put a DVD and play it on your GameCube. You could put it on your PS2. So that's, I think, the large reason why like the PS2 took off so much and was so popular. Because you know, it's popular. It's a difference between being popular with gamers, you know, people that just play video games and whatnot. Like the Xbox One for me is a popular system with gamers. Like gamers buy an Xbox One, they play it. They know what Xbox is, they buy it. They buy games for it. But the PS4 is on a whole nother level. Like cats that barely play games buy a PS4. And that's, you know, the Blu-ray factor, and, you know, just the popularity of the games and just the cheap, just the system being a little bit less expensive than the Xbox was, at least originally at launch. I think now you probably even get the Xbox cheaper than you could the PS3, or the PS4. But anyway, going back to the old times. So, DVD player, kind of, I think, #1 reason. Grand Theft Auto 3, to me, was like the #2 reason everybody wanted to play Grand Theft Auto 3. I remember seeing that game and I was just like, what? And Vice City was another one too, man. I was going to talk about Call of Duty, now I ended up talking about PS2 or whatever the hell we're going, man. I remember went to a buddy of mine's house, kid Jason, man. We never really hung out too much, whatever, but my parents were his parents, we went over there, whatever, and he had a PS2 and he was showing me all these different games or whatever. Like Oni, I remember, was kind of like a big deal at the time, whatever. And then he showed me Grand Theft Auto. He had Vice City. And we were playing Vice City or whatnot, and there was this helicopter mission. It's a little like you kind of drive like a toy helicopter type deal. I have Vice City. I've never sat back and actually like played the whole game. I've only played a handful of missions here or there, and I've seen it and I'm familiar with it. But I've never actually sat down and played Vice City. I've played through 3 San Andreas, 4, and then 5. Those are the ones that I've played through. But Vice City is kind of a hole there. Arguably, you know, for a lot of people, it's the best one. But anyway, I went over there and he had this tough mission with a helicopter. He told us like, yo, this thing's impossible. Like, nobody could drive this little helicopter. You can't do it, whatever. And with, like, this was one of my first times even picking up a PlayStation controller. Literally my first time kind of playing Grand Theft Auto. I did the mission, like, first try. I was like, all right, man, I don't know what's wrong with you. And then he took me, he had, like, a bunch of other, like, hard missions that he was kind of stuck at. And I went through and I did all of them. And I was like, yeah, man, I don't know, man. I think you kind of weak sauce. Like, you tripping. Like, I'm doing pretty good at this, man. So Grand Theft Auto 3, DVD player, and then SOCOM, I thought was huge at the time, man. Like, cats were like wilding. The fact that you connect your PlayStation 2 online and whatnot, woo! And I'm sure there's other games you could play. I'm sure by the end of the PlayStation 2 segment, you probably play Madden or something like that online. Like, I'm sure there's other games you can play online. I don't really remember any other game matching the height of SOCOM. Like, off the top of my head, I don't even remember another game that you could play online in the system. I'm sure there were. I'm sure if I dig deep enough, I could probably find out. But off the cuff, like SOCOM and SOCOM 2 in particular, I don't know if SOCOM 1 even had online, but SOCOM 2, I remember cast were like, yo. And I remember my only experience with SOCOM, literally, once again, at a friend's house. I didn't have a PS2. He was trying to tell me about how great it was and how how just amazing the thing was. And I was kind of like, yeah, I guess. I don't know. And he's like, yo, just play it and try it out, man. And I remember not being able to do shit in that game. Like, I remember moving in that game was difficult. Like, I remember just you having to press, like, a substantial amount of buttons to accomplish very basic things. And that's why when I went back and I played Modern Warfare with Junior, and I saw just how fluid it was and just how easy everything was and how I was like, oh, you kind of aimed out with it. Like, it just felt natural. And that's why I think most games since have kind of copied the Call of Duty or try to copy the Call of Duty formula in terms of shooters because they found something that really works. Tech Tuesday, man.